Hello, everyone. No. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
Aha, see, Ben even looked up for that one. That's good. My name is Dr. Lyceum from the University of Northern Iowa, and we'd like to share a really exciting experience that we had over the last semester. And this is something that's been going for a few years, and it's going to continue going. It actually means that the students, middle school and high school students, are connecting throughout the world. It's a great global collaboration project. By the way, this whole thing is going to be recorded, and so you'll be able to watch this later on. We have a whole set of connections and things that we'll be sharing with you. But this is, we're calling this "May the Forest Be With You." U.S. and Russia Global Forest Link. It's Global Forest Link coming from the Global School Network in San Diego. A couple people I'd like to introduce to you. My name is Lee Zeitz. I'm Professor of Instructional Technology and Coordinator of our Instructional Technology Division at the University of Northern Iowa. By the way, we have a great master's program, 2 years. This lady right here is a product, and she's making a difference in the world. That's enough. That's all they're going to let me tell. But we got stickers and things like that if you want. And then we have Allie Sauter, and she's from Indianola, and they're each going to be introducing themselves as they go through programs. We also have Irina Yushevaka, and she's from Russia. We have Elena Uleva, and she's originally from Moscow, but she is in San Diego. And then we have Dr. Yvonne Marie Andres, who has been doing this for 30 years, global collaboration, and she's been doing it, she's making a big difference in the world. So this is the game that we have. And down here at the bottom is the globalforestlink.com, which is a place where you can go to find the materials that we're doing and how to sign up for this sort of thing. By the way, best part about this is that this is a project that is happening now. It's something that you can get involved in if you're a technology coordinator or something like that. You can get your teachers involved in this sort of thing, and it's a great program. So Yvonne, why don't you take it away?
Great, thanks, Lee. And hi, everyone who I can't see there in Iowa right now. Yes, as Lee mentioned, I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm a longtime teacher. I taught middle school and high school for many years and got started doing global learning projects, actually even before the web, so kind of the late 80s. And Elena and I have taken all of our many decades of experience and put all of those ideas and concepts and best practices into this particular project, which is called Global Forest Link. And the idea is to connect young people around the world in the collaborative analysis of forest health. And what we incorporated into this project is many, many important different learning methodologies. So students do data collection and analysis. They go out into the local forests or national parks or anywhere where there's tree canopies. They take photographs, they take video, they document what they see. It involves innovative technologies. They connect them to satellite images. We have webinars where we connect them with experts. They have the global connection, so while students in Iowa are doing this, students in Chicago are doing it, in San Diego, in Washington, D.C., throughout Russia, and some new countries that we'll talk about a little bit later. They do traditional online research. They then take all of that information and they share it by creating digital stories. So we're very excited about incorporating all of these different aspects into this project. Next slide. So one of the things I want to mention is that with any project-based learning project, there's always some things that need to be managed. And with global projects, even more so. So when teachers get involved in this, they want to do all of these things. They want their students to get involved because they want them to gain knowledge about the subject matter. They want them to learn how to be involved in projects and do time management. They love the global interaction part of it, the digital storytelling, teamwork, collaboration, and the new technology. So my advice, my insight is you should prioritize which of these things are most important to you as a teacher and kind of put a percentage on there, and then decide how you're going to evaluate whether they achieve those things. So if it's knowledge gain, if you want them to learn about environmental scientists, then, you know, how are you going to evaluate whether they did that? If it's, you know, how well they worked as a team and plan their project and manage their time, how are you going to evaluate that? The global interaction part, do they learn more about the geography, about the culture of the different countries that they're interacting with? Digital storytelling. This is a new piece that we have really been focusing on the last a year or so, because we feel that it's not enough for the students to learn the content. We want them to be able to share that content with others. So we've been putting a lot of emphasis on how do you explain what you saw and what you learned. So we've created a tutorial about digital storytelling, which we'll share with you later. And then, of course, there's the teamwork and collaboration part. And research shows that the majority of the jobs now, and certainly in the future, will involve people working in geographically dispersed environments. So how do you collaborate with team members locally? That's challenging enough. And all of you will probably know, if you've ever been on a team, there's always differences of opinions. But when your team is dispersed around the country or even around the world, how do you do that? So we incorporate tools, usually free or very low cost tools, and we put a lot of support into, you know, what is the best methodology for collaboration. And finally, the new technology. So yeah, it's always fun to see what's new out there, but there's some basic things that you really want to get used to. You know, what is the web conferencing you're going to use? What are the image sharing programs you're going to use? And of course, social media. How is social media supporting what teachers have to do and the learning outcomes? Okay, next slide. Okay, so we have created many resources for you. And this presentation, you'll be able to immediately after your session, if you want, click on the link there where the little red arrow is, and you'll get the exact presentation that we're doing, and then we're recording it. So after the recording is processed, we'll add the link to that as well. So if you need to relive any of these exciting moments, you can do that. What we've put on there, some basic information. The top is some basic information about the Global Forest Link project, but then the resources are printable, downloadable, printable resources for you. So things that we've learned over the years. So how do you define the scope of your project? We give you, I don't know, maybe, Lee, maybe you could, let's see, just click on the first one. Yes, defining the project scope, just so they can see. So each one of these is one page. If you scroll down a little bit, you can see this tells you what you need to do if you're going to do any kind of a project. And this is not exclusive to Global Forest Link, but any kind of a project. You define your project goal, what will be the deliverables, what will be the constraints. And so each one of these resources you might want to take a look at, because they've all been provided to help you in any kind of a project that you're involved in. Okay, great. Next slide.
Oops, hang on. Sorry about that. Why isn't it going? There we go. There it is. Sorry about that.
Okay, next slide. Okay, and the last thing I want to say is that when you're involved in any kind of a collaborative project, if it's between San Diego and Iowa, or Iowa and Washington, D.C., there's always things that are going to be different, especially for live events. If you're involved in a global project, these are the items that you really have to take into consideration. Language. For example, last night we had a live conference between San Diego, Taiwan, and several locations in Russia. Well, it was 10 p.m. for Elena and I in San Diego. It was 1 p.m. for our school in Taiwan, and it was early morning for the locations throughout Russia. So when you have a live event, it's really important to make sure that there's a purpose for that live event, and it's something that you cannot take care of asynchronously online. So the time zones, the languages, last night we had to translate into both Chinese and Russia. So what would normally be a half-hour conference, becomes a much longer conference. So while we wait for the translations, there's always different holidays, weather conditions, not so much in San Diego, but of course where you are, testing schedules, the technology access, not everybody has equal access to technology. Different states and different countries have different requirements, content requirements. If you're going to do field research, there's transportation issues. And I'm going to let Ali talk about this when she does her part of the presentation. It's always important to get administrative support. Okay, next slide. And now I'm going to introduce my colleague Elena, and she will tell you a little bit more detail about the Global Forest Link project.
Hi everyone, my name is Elena Yulaeva. I am originally from Soviet Union, if you remember that this country existed at some point. I was born in Ukraine, but then grew up in Moscow and spent the last 25 years in the US. I live in San Diego right now, and I'm very excited to be together with Ivan to leading this project. The Global Forest Link project started a little bit over a year back in 2015. And at first, we had just 3 schools that participated in this project. There were 2 schools in San Diego and 1 school in Russia in the city called Ulan-Ude, and the close to Lake Baikal.
Excuse me, do you want us to go to the next slide?
No, I'm just
okay,
like
okay.
The centerpiece of this project is the portal, because we needed to connect students from different countries, different time zones, different cultures, and we built our Global Forest Link portal that had all the necessary parts of the project. When the students start to work on the project, the team starts to work on the project, we encourage them to look at the step-by-step video instructions that actually tells them what to do. And this is a very short 7 or 10 minute video that was done by one of our interns, and we have it in both Russian and English. So if you know Russian, you can watch it in Russian. Then you go to the tutorials page on our Global Forest Link portal, and we have tutorials there that are structured so that you go from one to another to get all the knowledge that you want, and you can adapt this project to any level of complexity. You can every tutorial is short, and then if you want to know more, there are links to more materials, to more data, to sites, to more information. We have a tutorial that currently it's tutorial number 3, that tells you how to collect images. One of the parts of the project is that we are asking students to go to the nearest forest, and it doesn't have to be rural forest. A lot of our participants, a huge part of our participants live in the cities, so they can go to urban forests, and we are currently trying to prepare the module on the learning module on the urban forests. They go to the urban forests, and they or through the rural forests, and they fill out the forms, and they take a picture, and they fill out and they answer the questions about the forest in this area, and then they come back and they put this into online form when they actually indicate the location and answer all the questions on this form. We then take these pictures and the data, metadata, and we put them together into the special analysis tool that allows you to look at the pictures and at the same time analyze them. The name of this tool is SWAF, and one of the tutorials is devoted to how to use this tool. And we are using this tool for lots of pieces of information on our website, including the themes and the videos, etc. And this is the enjoyable. The students always tell us that they really enjoy this part of the project very much. Then they they collect the images, and we also connect these images to the Global Forest Watch satellite images. Globalforestwatch.org is a special platform that has the forest data for the last 14 or 15 years that is that was received from the satellite images and post-processed. So we connect this data, and students can see the global picture as well. They analyze the data, they do their research, read the additional information, they interview the experts, we connect them to the experts, and then they produce their video stories. Next slide. This is the picture of these showing the participants of the pilot project. The Russian team was near Lake Baikal. It's the largest lake in the world. And at the time when we started the project, it experienced huge fires in the area. And in California, where our two other teams were located, we also had the fire seasons. So students immediately could relate to each other conditions and to each other forests. Next slide. Then we had in spring of 2016, we had another phase of the project where we had already 17 teams from Russia and 5 teams from the US. And now we have, and we had around 300 students participating. Now we are in the 3rd phase of the project. We have teams in Russia, in US, in Ecuador, Taiwan, and Hong Kong. And we have more than 550 students. And this is the map of our of the locations of the students. And it's if you zoom into this map, you can see that we have 3 teams in San Diego. Just seems like we have just 1 team. But we have lots of participants. We are very excited about this. We had the first kickoff webinar yesterday, and one of the questions that we got was from Russian team, do we think that our project will save the world? And I want Ivan to tell you what we answered.
Well, a student asked, do we think that Global Forest Link is going to save the world? And I said, no, not the project. The project's not going to save the world, but you, the student, can save the world. We can save the world if we're all working together to bring awareness to forest health issues. And I want to say that Elena and I attended a workshop in San Diego last week. There were over 100 people there representing all different aspects of forestry, tree management, urban forestry, getting young people involved with understanding the health of a community very much relies on the health of its trees. And I mean, it was just amazing. I learned so much that I've been involved in this project for 2 years that I didn't know about. So the truth is, one of the real reasons for us to link, okay, we have link in the name, Global Forest Link, is to link all of us together, to work together, and then maybe we can save the world.
Next slide. I think it's already.
It's back to
Okay,
Link.
that's me. So we were talking about the different aspects of what we're going through. So this is kind of a sequence. So what happens is at the start, you sign up, and you become part of this program, and we have they have a webinar. So they've got 3 webinars there. They talk about the teacher and student orientation, so you know what it's all about. There's a student training webinar, so the students will know the process that they're going to go through. And then there's a project quick kickoff webinar, and this is really where it really counts, because what it is, these are face-to-face webinars with students all over the world, and with experts in forestry and that sort of thing. In other words, it's about contact, it's about connecting. You know, ISTE, the new student standards for ISTE, global collaboration is a new standard. It's number 7. And digital citizenship has been moved up to number 2. So the importance of this sort of thing is increasing. What happens after you've done that, they have some self-paced global forest link tutorials that the students and the teacher can go through in the process. And then here's the deal. They go out and they begin research. They go out on a field trip, and they go out and they take a look at local forests. You know, and in some cases, these could be trees that are inside a city. It doesn't have to be something that's way out in the hinterlands. It could be right here in the city as to, you know, what's happening with the trees and things that we're seeing here. They're taking photos, they're taking videos, they're collecting data. There's interviews with experts, and then they come back, they put together, and they create products. And so here we talk about these interactive conferences. And as I said, this is where we have people from all over the world that are connecting, or actually in this case, it was between Russia, both in Moscow and students that are in Russia near Siberia. I'm sorry, Mongolia. And then we also had, and in some cases, the kids in Mongolia and Russia were, I think it was 9 o'clock at night. Over here, it was 8, in Indianola, it was 8 o'clock in the morning. So the kids really get the idea of what it means to be global. Here's where we go out and they do some reconnaissance. They find out about information that they're going out, they're looking at the forest, they're doing measurements, they're bringing in data. They're also taking a look at how do these things affect, this is some of the data that they get, how do these things affect what's happening? You know, and they can take a look and they can see about housing development. Are we getting urban sprawl that's causing deforestation? And then they create their own videos, their own digital story. And that's where they do their research, they bring it together, and they come up with a product that they're trying to, they share it. They upload it with the rest of the group. You'll notice that up here, this is one coming from Indianola, and it has to do with cankers. And I don't know what cankers are, but I guess you're going to tell us something about that. And then down here, this is the one from Moscow. Or, yeah, I think it was from Moscow. And so we have something here that says play the tutorial. So we'll go down here and
Yeah, let's just play a few minutes of that.
we will.
You can see.
Just so you can see what that's like.
Plants and trees produce oxygen. We can really, because the forests of the world produce this life-giving element. That's how important forests are. And that's why your work here with global forests is very important too. My name is Philip Ireland, and I'm a professional video journalist. And I'm here to help you use video to tell a compelling story. So, let's get started. First, the essentials. Your video must answer these 5 questions. Number 1, what do your photos and videos show? Do your videos and photos capture something unusual, interesting, or significant about the changing conditions of the forest? Number 2, what can you say about the condition of the forest from looking at your photos? What do you think might be causing the conditions you observe? Climate change, human activities such as building and road construction, tree diseases, recent fires. Number 3, what does Global Forest Watch tell you about the forest? Go to the Global Forest Watch interactive map. Find your area. Look for information about the health and conditions of the forest. Number 4, what do other sources tell you about the forest? Read current articles about forests and ecology, and investigate other sources such as Google Maps, drought, fire, and weather maps. Many large national and state parks have their own websites to help you. After looking at all of these sources, what conclusion can you make about the forest? Tell us what you found, how that makes you feel, and why we should care.
Okay, that's good. The next goes into more technical things about how to hold the camera. Make sure if you're using your smartphone, you hold it this way and not this way. How important audio is. Audio is more important even than the visuals. So, and it's about a 5-minute video that will help your students understand how to take what they learned and make a great digital story. Thank you.
There we go. And so we have that. This is the tutorial. And then over here, we're going to actually see what happened in Indianola.
I'm Allie Sauter, and I'm the Technology Integration Coach for the Indianola Community School District. We have about 1,100 students in our high school, and we are a one-to-one environment. So being a one-to-one environment and having district initiatives that are wanting us to provide more global interaction with our students to other students across the world, this was a perfect fit for us. We use the SAMR model, and this really helped us get one of our teachers, into the M and the R of the SAMR model. That's our teacher. She was unable to be here today, so I'm kind of going over what she did in her classroom with you, so bear with me. So I'm going to tell you kind of about our story, what process we went through, and kind of how we tweaked it to make this a 10th grade semester final project. Next slide.
Sure. Do you want to use this? You're on. You want to use it to control it?
So we followed the Global Forest Links step-by-step process, just as we were supposed to be entered into the contest at the end. But then when we kind of got to after our submission, we expanded this out. The Global Forest Link project needed to be, I believe, 2 to 3 minutes in length. After talking with our high school biology teacher, we decided that we need to expand this more, and we need to make it a 5 to 6 minute presentation. And not only do we want our kids to stand up and present what they have learned about the forest issue that they researched in Iowa, we also want them to be able to answer questions and be the expert in our classroom about this forest issue. So they had to field questions not only from the teacher and from myself, but also from other students in the room. They also had to provide partner feedback of how well they felt their group worked together. That was part of the process. This is a picture. We decided, instead of sending kids all out on their own, we decided to take a field trip to one of our local forests in Warren County, which would be Ahquabi State Park. How many of you have ever been to Ahquabi before or heard of it? It's just on the south side of our city, and it's pretty decent size. We did this in April. One thing that we probably could have done better, and when I say we, I mean mostly me, when we talk about avoiding the dark side, the only issue we really had throughout this whole project from a managerial standpoint was we did this in April. What is Iowa somewhat like in April? Cold and wet. Well, we had some kids that got some really serious mud on themselves, and just that, doing it again in the future, we will plan for extra time to come back and change into shoes and things like that. Making sure that all of our ducks are in a row with paperwork, and just so the parents know we might want to send shoes or a different outfit with them on that day. That's really the only glitch or hiccup we had with the entire project. So that day they took their pictures of the forest and they uploaded it to the Global Forest Link website. And there's like a Google form that they fill out for that. But we didn't necessarily see the diseases we were researching in our forest. So that's where it was really nice to bring the digital storytelling into it, because our students did some serious research on our Iowa forest issues. Forest issues I did not even know existed, like the 1,000 cankers disease. In fact, we had the 1,000 cankers group talk to the Iowa State Entomology Department. We did a Zoom session with them through a contact that we were able to obtain. And that professor sat down with that group of kids online and answered all the questions they had about 1,000 cankers disease. We also heavily utilized the Department of Natural Resources here in the state of Iowa, because there were, we had about 60 kids in the project and we put them in groups of 2. Could you come up with 30 different forest issues? We had to have some kids have the same forest issue. We can only have so many groups who will ash borer and beaver grazing and things like that. So it was nice to get bigger groups of kids talking to different experts. When we got all done, we came up with a rubric, and this is a kind of a picture of our rubric for our final project, the one that we had the kids expand on and work on. And we really measured scientific content, expert information, technical production, their presentation, which is now 5 to 6 minutes long, their creativity, originality, and audience appeal, how well they cited their sources. This was a kind of an English, bring in English and helping us learn how to cite different things that we've not cited before. What kind of presentation feedback there was, and their partner reflection is how we measured that. Our teacher then kind of went a step further and she said, okay, and she did this when we started. She looked at the next generation science standards and said, how can our ecology unit that I normally do kind of incorporate the global forest link and meet all of our science standards? So here are the science standards that our teacher came up with that she was measuring along the way with their learning in class and their learning through the global forest link project. And we do have a student example from Indianola. The 1,000 fingers disease on the other slide was also from Indianola.
No.
Yeah.
Hi, my name's Sarah Deer, and I love forest. Some human claim that we, white men here, have a negative impact on forests in Iowa, but I disagree. I think it's another factor to shut the hard forest bar. Let me show you a few examples. This photo was taken in a forest of Lake Ahquabi State Park in Indianola, Iowa. As you can see, there is no physical damage caused by deer. The main problem seems to be dead ones all over the forest and dead trees, which isn't the fault of my friend. This photo was also taken at Lake Ahquabi. Again, there is virtually no damage caused by white-tailed deer like these. The only damage shown in this picture is dead trees and wood all over the forest. We shouldn't leave these ways because this is not our fault. There isn't much damage in the first place. The global forest watch shows it's a very healthy forest with practically no significant tree death, even though there's a lot of detriment on the forest floor in these pictures, which were taken here and here. The forest is very healthy. A report made by the USDA says the Iowa's forest are generally quite healthy. The issues come from diseases such as the white oak disease and the Dutch elm disease. The forest at Lake Ahquabi State Park is healthy, which proves the previous picture. This satellite image shows that it's populated greatly by trees with much coverage. This is backed by data collected by the U.S. stating that there hasn't been much trees for the past years. See, there aren't as much of a problem as some people think they are. Have a nice day. See you later.
So because we're the one-to-one environment, we kind of gave them any program that they wanted to use to tell their story. So we were a math school. We had iMovie. Some are really into cartoons. They love to make cartoons and animations. It's great. Majority of them were made in iMovie. And as a technology integration coach, I would go in and work with groups of kids and make sure that if they had an iMovie question or procedure they weren't sure about, I would help support the teacher and help support the students throughout this process. And here's a slide of our winners from last year. We had 2 teams get a first place award, and we had 3 other teams get an honorable mention. And these are global awards. We had students, like I said, teams in Russia, teams here in the United States, and 2 of our teams got first place and 3 got honorable mention. So I was very pleased with our successes, and they did get cash prizes for being winners. Yes, they are. So again, when you look at the SAMR model, I mean, we're really up there in the SAMR model for the transformation of technology through this project. And it's just a great project that's kind of already out there that you can just jump right into. And you can jump into this project still today if you're interested after we think today.
Okay, so we just heard from Irina, and she unfortunately is not going to be able to join us, and I don't know what the reason is. It could be technology, it could be transportation. It's quite late there. It's after midnight there. So Elena, would you talk a little bit about Irina's project? You need to unmute your mic, Elena.
Sorry for this. Yes, Irina Ushakova, she was the teacher in the school in Ulan-Ude. She participated, her students participated in our pilot project and then in the second phase of the project. And she was very, very helpful. What made it easier for us was that she was teaching English, so all her students were more or less proficient in English. We didn't have to do simultaneous Russian-English translation. And then it helped us a lot in our second stage where we had to translate everything into Russian. She just sent me a couple of she sent the file with what she wanted to tell us. She said that at first time the project was pretty challenging for her because neither she nor her students ever worked with the satellite images. And also so this was a technical challenge. Another challenge was that it was very hard to keep everyone informed with the assignments and the deadlines. But what she did, she created the special GFL Facebook page just for her project, and she kept everyone posted on this. So it was very easy to communicate with the students from different classes, because it was not just within one class, but within different classes. She also said that using the Global Forest Link portal was really important. She didn't have to worry about materials, about teaching materials, because everything was already there. During the pilot project, she and her students met every other week to discuss the every week to discuss the progress. During the second phase, when she participated, it was like every other week. She thinks that what is important for the teacher is to make sure that each of the students understand every aspect of the project, and that if they need help, they get one. So this first slide shows the participants of your pilot, and the second project, and we issued the certificates to each participant. And then in the second phase of the project, we also had the awards for the best video, for the best digital stories. And I'll talk about this a little bit later. So can we show the second slide? An interesting part of this project, and it was specific for the first and the second phase of the project, that first of all, Irina came to San Diego, and just before the project started, the pilot project started, and she met two teachers that were leading the student teams here in San Diego. And then one of the teachers, whose name is Rose Hanscom, she went, after the second phase of the project, she went to Russia, to Ulan-Ude as well, and met the students who participated, the future participants, and the teachers there in Ulan-Ude. So some of these pictures show their meetings in Ulan-Ude during her visit there with the students and with the teachers. She had a chance to go to the, they have a summer camp on Lake Baikal, so she had a chance to go there and see how students live in this camp, and she had a chance to present about the Global Forest Link. And Irina thinks that this is one of the advantages of the project, that the teachers can remotely, online, or directly, if there is a possibility, meet and discuss different aspects of the teaching science and teaching environmental science in school, or biology, whatever, in whatever class they implement the project.
So I think, Elena, we're sort of running a little bit short on time. So I think people can watch this video on their own.
What I want to add is that all the videos that students produce, the digital story, we have a special form. It's not that they just upload the video to our site that we publish. They also fill in the questionnaire, and they upload additional materials. They can be the write-up, it can be additional video, it can be anything, and link to their website. And then we publish them, and students can review and comment on them, and exchange their opinions on these.
So Lee, you want to show a little bit of that video? We have maybe time for 1 minute of the video.
No problem.
Hello, my name is Andrew. We're students from 61 Russia. This is our work in our forest in Baikal. Baikal is an integration of nature. It's a deepest that can notice pure crystal water. It's surrounded by many national parks and nature preserves that have forests not
Using impressive.
of Baikal.
The video at the
We
beginning.
photos of the forest in the Baikalsky National Park and analyze the condition of the forest. Does this forest have problems? Yes, it has. There are many of them. But the main problem of this area is fires. There, we work in this international ecological expedition. During this time, we listen to many lectures about various environmental issues and other number of practical observation and studies. So here what we got. According to the information of Global Forest Watch, we analyze the forest changes in this area during the period of 2014. As you can see, we almost 4 times. Then, we have watched the level of the forest rise. Here in red color, you can see the area of the forest that was very revised in the last 5 years. Let's take a look at the effects of fires that result in the loss of forest, and of course, have straight relation to wildlife. And what?
You notice they used Prezi to put that together.
That's what's fun, is to see how creative everybody gets, because I know that the Russians really loved watching the videos from Indianola High School, because they were very different than the ones that the Russians created. So that's part of the fun of the collaboration. I want to say, I know we're running short of time, but I want to say we are seeking participants for this current session. And I know it's October, but the session doesn't end until December. So we would love anybody in the audience to jump right in and join us this session. If not, you know, you can certainly join the spring session. Our program is very dependent on funding, so we don't know how many live webinars we'll be able to do in the spring, but certainly right now we're accepting participants. So we invite you to join us. We invite you to join our community on Facebook, and where we post a lot of resources and opportunities. And Lee, maybe we can open it up to questions.
And also I want to point out, although it's 20th century, I've got a piece of paper here that you could actually put your name on, and we would contact you if you want to do that too. And what kinds of questions do we have? You want to take care of Melanie?
I'm very interested in this project, but as far as joining now,
We can't hear the question, Lee.
We'll repeat it.
She'll repeat it. Ali's gonna field the questions.
Okay.
I get, bus, like field trip arrangements done for this session. She said something about funding. Is there funding for that kind of thing?
No, they're talking about funding for them to run the project. I'll field this question for you because we kind of are in the same boat. We don't do ecology until second semester. So with this starting up in the fall already, we're not really there yet. So we kind of tossed around a couple different ideas of still kind of doing the project with the kids, but just not being eligible for prizes, but also to come back in the spring and hopefully that they do another one in the spring.
And then it seems also like there would be a lot of like.
Yeah, it is free.
Yeah, but wouldn't there be a lot of preparation, like on sort of teaching the children how they?
Yes.
Most of the research themselves.
And her question is, wouldn't there be a lot of preparation for the teacher in order to do this project? There is. You as the teacher go through a webinar process and kind of the list of directives that they give you to kind of help you out. But it's very supportive. If I had a question, I had an answer within the day.
So here's what I want to say is that you may not be able to do every aspect of the project for this fall session, but if you wanted to jump in and get involved, you could take advantage of the live webinars that we'll be having with Russia and Taiwan and Ecuador and Hong Kong. And we just don't know, it's because this is a global learning project, we just don't know if we'll have the same opportunities in the spring. So, you know, maybe you won't do the full project this time. Maybe this is kind of more getting used to it, you know, getting up to speed with the tutorials. And then, you know, and then as Ali said, you can always do it self-paced because all the tutorials and resources are online.
Which is nice. I will say, like, one of the biggest benefits that I saw from it as a technology integration coach was that our kids got to talk to kids in Russia. And some of the kind of conversations that brought about in our high school were very interesting. Some of the things that, you know, kind of shocked them about the Russian students, I really didn't think they were that shocking, but to them they were. We got to ask each other questions back and forth. And some of their questions were very different than the questions that we were asking them. So, I mean, it's just a great project.
Examples. You just built that up. Now, what are some examples?
An example would be in the Russian schools, they have schools closer to Mongolia. And our students were curious as to, they had a picture in their head of what a Russian student would look like. Well, a lot of the students that we got to talk to looked Asian. And so, you know, one of the questions to me, you know, behind the scenes was, you know, if they're from Russia, why do they look Asian? So we had kind of that conversation. The only, I guess, really challenging or unfortunate part was we were only able to do the live webinar with one class period, and we had 3 class periods two of the class periods didn't get that chance. They had to watch the later. So they all got to see the conversation, but they didn't get to participate in it. So we kind of have brainstormed some different ideas of how to make that work differently the next time around.
Ben.
Curious, this obviously fits well with high school. How young have participants been so far? I work with elementary.
They're asking about the age. Age level.
Of students, typically they're middle school and high school, but you know, I mean, it really can be adapted for any grade level. Upper elementary, I think in some cases would work as well, you know, if they were, you know, if they had enough teacher support, but you know, typically this has been middle school and high school.
And
Yeah,
Ben, you work with Gifted, right? So he works.
Oh, he works with Gifted. Yeah, we have actually had a lot of advanced placement students participate.
I think in the pilot project in Russia, students were a little bit younger. They were around like between 13 and 16. But in the next phase, it was between 15 and 18.
I think you could have gifted upper elementary students handle this just fine. Okay. I really do. Being an elementary teacher myself, I think they could handle this.
Seems like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We could also collaborate with some high schools, get weekend and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Or we've got a high school class, you know, an elementary class, and we've done actually like this together.
They're talking about using high school and elementary together.
You know, we've run Global SchoolNet, which is my foundation. We've run a program for 20 years called CyberFair, and we have not divided it up. We've had elementary, middle school, high school students creating projects projects and sharing it with one another, and we've never had difficulty with that. So if it's the right kind of collaboration, they can participate at the level that they're able to.
Well, I think that's it. We've hit the end. I hope that, does this seem like an interesting project? Great, and we hope that you can join us in this, and if you can't do it this fall, like we said, you can go online, you can look at the tutorials, get the idea, and if you want to contact Ellie, or if you want to contact me, we're around. And let's see. Tell you what, I've got business cards I'll give you, okay? Okay. You don't need to look into it. Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lee and Allie
Bye.
and Elena. All right.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.